Alright everyone, so in this video we have the Moto G Play 2023 versus the new Galaxy A14 5G. Now we're going to go over some of the specifications, I'm going to go over my experience with both these devices, and at the end of this video I am going to tell you subsequently which phone is better. So these phones were released around the same time. I know on GSM Arena's website it actually says the Moto G Play was released December 8th. It was not. For public consumption, it actually wasn't released until a few days ago, I believe a day after the Galaxy A14 5G. So these released on almost the same day. Now getting into the dimensions of these devices, they're pretty much the same size. The Moto G Play 2023 is 6.5 inches and the Galaxy A14 5G is 6.6 inches. The thing I like though about the Moto G Play is that we actually have a hole punch cut out right there instead of the teardrop notch on the A14 5G. That's probably one of the only things I like about the Moto G Play compared to the A14 5G. But both these devices are going to be around the same weight, so both are going to be about 202 grams. Both are going to have a plastic frame, and both of course are going to have a glass front. Now as far as the resolution of the displays, we have a 720p resolution on the Moto G Play. It actually does have a 90 Hz refresh rate however, and we have a 270 ppi. Now going to the Galaxy A14 5G, we actually have a 90 Hz display as well. However, we have a full HD display, and with our PPI being about 400, we actually have 130 more pixels per inch on the A14 5G than of course the Moto G Play. Now the other thing about the display, not just that this display is brighter, it's punchier, it's better looking and more pixel dense, but also it doesn't have this thing where you turn the display where it gets super dark. This display is like one of those old TFT displays on the Moto G Play that it gets really dark when you turn it at some weird angles. So I don't really like that. The display winner is of course the A14 5G off the bat, just because it has a better resolution, better pixel density, but also it doesn't do that annoying thing where it changes colors and stuff when you turn the phone at a different angle. So A14 5G won that. Now getting into the prices of these devices, as far as the Moto G Play 2023, this device is going to be around I believe it's $170, so $169.99 on Amazon right now. The Galaxy A14 5G however is about $30 more, and I think that is justified comparing the specifications you're about to see. But we have a $200 phone, so $200 for the A14 and $170 for the Moto G Play 2023. Getting into the platforms, both of these obviously have Android. The Moto G Play 2023 has Android 12. I believe we have the October security update from last year. And for the A14 5G, we have Android 13 Core UI 5.0, as well as 2 promised operating system updates and 4 years of security patches. I haven't heard any word on the Moto G Play 2023. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section down below, but I don't know how long this is going to be updated for. As far as the chipset in the Moto G Play 2023, we have a MediaTek Helio G37, which we have seen in phones that are at the caliber of like $130 to $150. So it's a very, very weak processor, not very good at all. We also have 32 gigabytes of internal storage in this device and 3 gigabytes of RAM, albeit we actually do have a SD card reader inside of here, so we can expand storage if you'd like. Now getting into the processor of the A14 5G, we have a Dimensity 700 processor, which is going to be a more powerful processor. Games are going to be able to run much better on the A14 5G compared to the Moto G Play, albeit it is the same processor that we saw on the A13 5G, it still is a better processor. Now getting into the storage and RAM on this, we actually have 1 more gigabyte of RAM, 4 gigabytes of RAM on the A14 5G, and double the storage that we have on the Moto G Play. So we have 64 gigabytes of internal storage compared to 32 inside this device. So that's another win for the A14 5G. It has a better software experience. It has more storage, more RAM, and a better processor. So it's absolutely defeating the Moto G Play right now. Now getting into the cameras, as you guys can see, we have a triple camera setup on both of these devices. Going into the Moto G Play 2023, we are going to have a 16 megapixel wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth. On our Galaxy A14 5G, we're going to have a 50 megapixel wide camera, which is going to double as a PDAF camera, which both of them are. Our secondary is going to be a 2 megapixel macro, and our third is going to be a 2 megapixel depth camera. Now, as far as the quality goes, I would say the quality is much better on the A14 5G. I would say the shutter speed is actually better on the A14 5G. We're going to do a full video doing all of that because that would take a whole other 10 minutes to do, but we're going to do a camera comparison on these devices very soon, and you guys will see. But I would say the camera is better on the A14 5G, so that's another dub for the A14. And the selfie cameras on these devices both can produce a video resolution of 1080p 30 frames per second, not just on the front but on the rear as well. And we also have a 5 megapixel front facing camera on the Moto G Play, and on the A14 we have a 13 megapixel camera. Both are able to use wide angles as well. Great thing about both these devices is we actually do have a headphone jack. So we have a headphone jack, which I think is placed better on the A14 at the bottom, and of course a headphone jack at the top of the Moto G Play. Obviously placement is subjective. Both do have loudspeakers. They're not going to be stereo, so just mono speakers, and they are at around the same place, the bottom right side of the device, so it's easy to cover those up. That's one thing I don't like about the A14 is if you have bigger hands, it's kind of hard to not cover it up when you're playing like video games and stuff. And of course, getting into the battery on these devices, we have both of these devices, we have surprisingly 5,000 milliamp battery, and for the wired charging we only have 10 watt wired charge on the Moto G Play compared to the A14 where we have a 15 watt wired charge. So we have fast charging on the A14 and we have some pretty slow charging actually on the Moto G Play 2023. And the last thing we're going to be talking about is the colors of these devices. So the Moto G Play 2023 is only released in deep indigo, and the A14 5G is actually released in multiple different colors. So we actually have black, which is the one I have right here. We have light green, we have dark red, and we have silver. Now, I didn't really talk about this too much in the beginning of the video when I was talking about the chassis of the phone and everything, but I would say the A14 5G is a much nicer looking phone. I mean, that's subjective in itself already, but I feel like this has a more modern design. And I feel like it looks a bit newer. Motorola has kind of used this design language a lot on their past devices, so it's kind of played out. Other than that, I'm still excited about the Motorola G Stylus they're going to release, and they have a bunch of other devices they're going to release. I love you, Motorola, but this device isn't that amazing. It doesn't have 5G like the A14 has. It suffers with its chipset. It doesn't have as much storage or as much RAM as the A14 5G. I just think the A14 5G does so many things better than the Moto G Play 2023 at only $30 more. So if you guys were to pick up one of these devices and you are having a hard time deciding, go with the Galaxy A14 5G. I don't think you guys would regret it. If you are a Motorola fanboy, they do have Moto Actions on this device. I don't want to be too harsh because there are some people that love Motorola. Moto Actions and certain things that you can't find on the A14, as well as a pretty stock Android setup on this device as well. That's one of the things that I liked or enjoyed about the Moto G Play devices. But yeah, guys, the A14 5G is the clear winner right here. I'm sure you guys could tell, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you guys have any questions or you guys want to leave your own statements in the comment section down below, go ahead and do so. But this has been Stefan from TechRight. Peace out, Tech Gang.